coming years, I will carry you all my life. I will praise the one who's chosen me to carry you.
I'm Lauren Christman. I have a husband named Craig. We've been married for 9.5 years. We have a 5.5-year-old named Emerson and a 2.5-year-old named Isley. We've been going to Origins for about 8.5 years. So prior to coming to Origins, I grew up in the church. My grandfather is a pastor, great-grandfather is a pastor. So being a part of a community of believers has always been a really integral part of my story, my family's story. So after coming to Origins for a few months, it's kind of a trial basis. We weren't really sure. The culture of Origins is a lot different than the Southern Baptist Church that I grew up in. So we were kind of kicking the tires, so to speak, as we say a lot of times, of just the culture there. But as soon as we got to know the people in the community, we just knew that we had to dig deeper. We wanted to get to know more people. We wanted to build that community and have that trust and just be able to lean on one another, and found that was just such an important part of our journey. So about 7.5, 8 years ago, my husband and I, we've been married for about 2 years, and we found out that we were expecting 2 little girls, and we were so excited. We're not expecting the twins part of it at all. We were just so thankful to have a pregnancy, and that was just an added bonus. It was a high-risk pregnancy to begin with because of the twins and because of some other things. But overall was going well until we hit about the 20th week, almost 21st week. I started having some complications, just started feeling like things just weren't quite right. Ended up going to the hospital, and within about a 36-hour period from being admitted to the hospital, my water broke, and I delivered both babies. Finley was the first one, and she was born alive. She cried, she breathed, she lived for about 5 minutes or so. Then Harper came afterwards. She was stillborn, she was breech. And so we delivered them, and just we're shocked. We're completely shocked that this had happened, and trying to understand, why this happened. We're believers and knew that God has a plan, but even in the midst of that, trying to understand why this happened to us. So at the time when everything happened, even when we were in the hospital, we had quite a few church members that came and visited me prior to everything happening, and I actually had to end up being hospitalized again not long after the delivery for some other complications, and was in the hospital for about a week. And because of that, I had a lot of people come in, brought us meals. When we came home, literally our table, you couldn't see a spot on it that wasn't covered with a gift or a book or a card. People from Origins and other people just truly, felt covered in prayer, felt covered in God's love, even in the midst of the difficulty. I can remember specifically, the babies were delivered in September, and then the following Mother's Day was a really difficult day for me. Just because I felt like I was a mother, even though my children weren't here on earth. And I can remember specifically we were still at Hopewell, and I can picture it. Bridget Davis coming up to me and hugging me and just telling me Happy Mother's Day. And even though months had passed, it was almost in a more difficult state at that point because life had moved on for a lot of people, but I kind of felt stuck, like I was still standing in the same place in a lot of ways. And I'll never forget what that meant to me, that somebody else recognized that I was a mother, even though my children were here on earth at that point. I think having a basis of faith and being a believer, and also having people around us, the prayer and just the love and the concern. My husband and I have talked many times that we don't know how people get through things like this if they don't have that, if they don't have a trust in God and have a relationship with Him, and also have people around them who can lift them up in prayer and words and so many things. And it was without a doubt the most difficult thing that I and we have ever gone through. And because of the support of others, and even the way that God orchestrated things, the way that the messages were and what the sermon series were following all of this that happened, really brought us, he and I, back together, helped me to overcome a lot of the guilt that I felt, because I felt like I had failed, like I had done something wrong, that there was something wrong with me, that this had happened. But having the support of people around me to remind me that God does have a plan, even if it hurts and even if it's hard, that He has a plan for us. And now to see His faithfulness is just an incredible thing. I think community is huge. I mean, I've been in church my whole life, but I've never felt the sense of community like I have here at being at Origins, and just the people who will go out of their way just to love on you. And we all come from such different backgrounds and different places, but yet we have this unifying bond of, none of us are perfect. None of us are going to do the right thing all the time, but we're going to love each other and we're going to support each other. And that's just huge to me. I can't imagine going through life without having the support and knowing that sometimes I'm going to have struggles and I'm going to need lifted up, but other times I'm going to be able to lift other people up with the things that I've gone through, and that God can build me up. And I feel that if you don't have that faith basis and don't have that surrounding you, that you're not going to feel those things and know that there is hope and that you're going to get through this. I think when I look back now, 7 years later, it's incredible to me to see the faithfulness of God. When all this happened, I really struggled. At first I was fine and I did well, and I was like, okay, God, this is for a reason. And then, like I said earlier, life went on, and I struggled. I really did. I was like, what's the point? What's the point of all of this? I don't understand. But God was there through all of it. He was faithful with me, even though I was frustrated and I wanted to give up on things. And I just, at the time I was really good at putting on the facade and saying, oh, everything's going okay, when inside there was so much turmoil. But He was still there. And when I look back, I see His faithfulness, that He was able to grow me as a person, and to make my husband and I realize that maybe we weren't quite ready yet with our relationship with each other, with our relationship with God. But now we have 2 beautiful little girls who are healthy and that we wouldn't have otherwise, who talk about their big sisters in heaven all the time. And, there's nothing more special to me than that. But for me, it's just seeing God's faithfulness, looking back and knowing that even in the dark places and when I just thought I couldn't go on, that He was there, and He was forming me to be the mother and the person that He wanted me to be, that I wasn't at that point.